Hey guys, today we'll be listening to one of the most disturbing horror stories on Reddit. Let's start. Never sleep in room 6. Last week I was driving cross-country when a storm rolled in. The rain was coming down so hard my wipers couldn't keep up, and the highway disappeared under a sheet of black water. I spotted a flickering neon sign through the storm. Hilltop Motel. The place looked half abandoned, but it was the only light for miles. Inside, the front desk smelled of damp wood and cigarette smoke. An old man sat behind the counter. He barely looked at me, just slid over a tarnished brass key attached to a faded leather tag. The number on it read 6. When I reached for it, his hand tightened on the key just for a moment. He leaned forward and whispered, "If you hear knocking tonight, don't open the door." His eyes didn't blink when he said it. Room 6 was at the end of the hall. The air grew colder as I approached it. Inside, the first thing I noticed was the curtains, heavy, stained, and nailed shut with thick, rusted nails hammered deep into the window frame. The air stank of mildew and something sweeter underneath, like rotting fruit. The carpet squished underfoot as though it had been soaked and never dried. And then the mirror. It was tall, mounted near the bed, cracked diagonally across the center. It felt wrong immediately, like it wasn't reflecting the room quite right. My outline seemed slightly delayed, as though my reflection moved just a fraction after I did. I tried to shrug it off, lay down and sleep. But at 2:47 a.m., a knock pulled me awake. Slow. Heavy. 3 times. I froze, remembering the old man's warning. Another knock. Then silence. I held my breath, staring at the door. That's when I heard it. A woman's voice whispering from the crack beneath the door. Hoarse. Wet. Gurgling my name like she was choking on it. I wanted to scream, but my throat locked. I turned to the mirror. My reflection wasn't in it anymore. Instead, a woman stood inside the glass. Her skin was gray and waterlogged, her hair black and stringy, hanging in clumps across her face. She lifted her head and I saw her mouth. It stretched impossibly wide, tearing at the corners, teeth crooked and too many, clacking as she grinned. She pressed her hands against the inside of the mirror. Long nails scraped, leaving trails like cracks. And then she started pushing. The glass bulged outward as if it were soft. A whisper rose from all around the room. "Let me in. Let me in." The knocking at the door stopped. Now it came from inside the mirror. I couldn't breathe. The crack in the glass spread wider, pieces falling to the floor. Her arm slid halfway through, bloated, pale, dripping with dark water that reeked of rot. I saw her nails dig into the carpet. I bolted, slamming the door open and sprinting barefoot down the hallway. My feet slapped on wet carpet that hadn't been wet when I arrived. The clerk was waiting in the lobby, sitting in the dark. He didn't look startled. He just lit a cigarette and said, almost tired, "You stayed in 6, didn't you?" I demanded to know what the hell was happening, but he just shook his head. "She drowned in the tub years ago. They never found her body. She comes back looking for company." I turned back down the hallway. The door to room 6 was wide open now, and she was standing there. Not in the mirror, not outside the door, but in the hall itself. Watching me, water dripping down her nightgown, pooling black on the floor. The last thing I remember before running out into the storm was the sound of nails dragging across the walls, following me. I don't think she's trapped in the motel anymore. Because last night back in my apartment, I heard the same knock. The man who watches. I used to think paranoia was just in my head, but lately I know someone's following me. It started 2 weeks ago when I noticed a man at the bus stop near my apartment. Tall, thin, always in the same dirty brown jacket. His face was the kind that never stayed clear in your memory, blurred features like he didn't want to be remembered. But I knew it was him every time, because of the way he stood, perfectly still, head tilted just slightly, staring. The first time I saw him was at night, through my bedroom window. He was across the street under the street lamp, not moving, just watching. By the time I blinked, he was gone. The second time I caught him in the reflection of a store window. I was buying coffee, and there he was behind me across the street, head tilted, staring. When I turned, nothing. Last Thursday, I came home from work, and my apartment door was unlocked. Nothing was stolen, but on my kitchen table was a Polaroid, a picture of me, asleep in my bed. I don't own a Polaroid camera. The police didn't take me seriously. They told me I must have forgotten to lock my door, that I should be careful. They didn't see the man. Last night I woke up at exactly 3:11 a.m. The sound of breathing pulled me out of sleep. Not my breathing, his. Slow, heavy, right inside my bedroom. I didn't move. My eyes adjusted to the dark, and I saw him. The man in the brown jacket standing in the corner, head tilted, watching me. His face still blurred, like it didn't belong to a real person. His chest rose and fell with each deep breath. I shut my eyes and prayed it was sleep paralysis. When I opened them again, the corner was empty, but on my nightstand there was a fresh Polaroid, a picture of me with my eyes closed, pretending to be asleep. I don't know how much longer I can stay here, because tonight, when I got home, there was another photo waiting on the table. This one wasn't of me sleeping. It was of me sitting here, writing this. My neighbor asked me to watch his dog. I don't think it was a dog. Greg lives 2 doors down from me. Quiet guy, never had company over, never really left his house at night. Last Friday he knocked on my door, holding a leash and a bag of dog food. "Can you watch him for the weekend?" he asked. That was strange. I had never once seen him walk a dog. Still, I said yes. When I stepped into Greg's house, the smell hit me. Metallic, sweet, like something rotting in the walls. The dog was curled up in the far corner of the living room. At first I thought it was malnourished. Its limbs looked too long, too thin, folded up like a spider. Its skin was hairless, stretched tight, and blotched with dark bruises. I whispered, "Hey, buddy," trying to sound calm. It stood up, slowly. Its joints cracked like old wood. When it turned, I realized its head was wrong. Too flat, the mouth running farther back than it should. Rows of small human-like teeth, but too many of them. The eyes. Christ, the eyes weren't even canine. They looked almost human, bloodshot and wet, staring at me like it already knew my name. That night I heard scratching outside my bedroom window. I live on the 2nd floor. When I worked up the courage to check in the morning, there were gouges in the wood paneling, deep and ragged, all the way down to the earth. I texted Greg, "What the hell kind of dog is this?" He replied in less than a minute, "Don't feed it." That was all. But when I went back the next day, the food bowl was empty. I hadn't touched it. I don't even know what he'd left in the bag. It wasn't kibble. It looked like dried, blackened strips of meat, stiff and veined. The thing was sitting in the middle of the room now, facing the door like it was waiting for me. Its lips peeled back in something that wasn't a growl, more like a smile. The smell of rot was worse. That night I woke up at 3:12 a.m. to the sound of something breathing in the hallway. Slow, wet inhales. Then the sound of nails dragging along the drywall, closer and closer to my bedroom door. I locked it and pressed my ear against the wood. I swear I heard it whisper my name. When I went back to Greg's house yesterday, there were photos scattered on the floor. Polaroids. Dozens of them. They weren't of the creature. They were of me, sleeping, brushing my teeth, standing at the kitchen sink. Some were from inside my apartment. And in the last photo, taken from outside my bedroom window, I wasn't alone in the frame. Okay guys, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this.